Welcome to the Love Holistic Living podcast, your roadmap to heal and align mind, body, and soul and become intuitive through food, pleasure, and spirituality with your host and Italian friend, Sara Garofalo. How I overcame eating disorders, chronic dieting, and became intuitive with food naturally and organically. This is my journey, and that's today's episode. I really want to walk you through what I've been through in the hope that you realize you have a way out of whatever you are currently struggling with. And let me just say, and I'm talking for women, that every woman I know has something with or towards her body. That's very common. That's also not your fault because I believe that society has impacted us to believe that we need to look a certain way and to fit a certain size. And it really is pressure. It really holds a lot of pressure, and you always constantly feel like you're never good enough because if it's not your weight, it's your eyebrow, it's your boobs, it's whatever. And there is so much shame in the world and body insecurity that hopefully this will shed some light of how you can get out of all of this naturally and through a very holistic approach. I also share my journey in my book called Manja, and visit manjacookbook.com to grab your copy if you haven't already. And feel free to leave a review. It has shifted so many lives, and I hope that this will inspire you to keep going. I started when I was 16 years old, and I remember exactly what happened because I was always an athlete, and I've always been since I was a baby. I never sit still. That is my nature to always do. And in terms of like, I have so much fun running or climbing or skiing. Like, and then my dad exposed me to all of the sports, which I had so much fun doing with him and friends. Then 16 comes, and I had a hip injury because of all of the things that I was doing. And I had to sit still for 2 years, which was really hard for me. And also, I lost a lot of time because doctors couldn't figure it out how to fix it. And pretty much, bottom line, at the end of the day, it was like sit still and let it heal. And for me, that was death sentence because I've always been active. I was an athlete. I did martial art, and I was almost about to get my black belt, and then here you're telling me that I have to sit still. What is going on? So I went into heavy depression and isolation, and I decided to focus all of my energies onto being a good student, which I kind of always been by nature, but that kind of threw me even more into my studies and to excel, but also to get lost in it. And with the depression came the bulimia. What happened, which it came all of a sudden, and there was a deeper root cause, which I was going through my teenagers years, and I was really angry at the time at my parents because they kept wanting to protect me and I wanted to go out and have fun, and they always said no, and I was like a very rebellious kid, if you can't tell, but I kinda like, "Don't tell me what to do, otherwise I'll do it." I'll do it no matter what. So you need to use reverse psychology with me. Give me the freedom and I'll stay. Put me in a cage and I will literally bomb that cage. So anyway, there was a deeper root cause that we have resolved, but I didn't know what else to control. And so I started controlling my body. And it's also the time where like you're a teenager, you're kind of feeling your body and you're like, there is all of these hormones and attentions and boys and high school, and it's miserable. But I started again, like not eating throughout the day, and then I would like binge at night, and then I would try to, bulimia, like throw it all up. And it did last like a couple months or about 9 months maybe before like I couldn't take it anymore. And I'm like, well, this is not working out. My throat is hurting. Like I'm gaining more weight than usual and I'm puffy and I'm feeling like embarrassed going out. And like, this is not the person I was. I've never had a problem with my body. And now this is coming. Like, I literally felt so lost. And my parents are like watching and they're like, well, like, they didn't even know how to handle it. But all I wanted literally was like, I want to lose weight. So, and I'm a very determined person that I was like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. So my mom was like, I'll take you to a dietitian who is also a therapist. And I was like, fine, as long as it works. And it did work. But little did I know that it did spiral me into a heavier toxic cycle that lasted 2 years in which I was so determined that I gained control, too much control, because yeah, I used the caloric deficit rule, which is restricting and counting calories. I was weighing everything. Okay. My mom was part of it and she did what she could in order to help me. And at the time, that was all she knew. And I remember like weighing every single bit and being so paranoid and paralyzed at, the idea of food. Food was consuming my thoughts. I was literally doing more math than I could, ever did in my whole life. In, okay, I ate this crackers this morning and this is 120 calories. And then an apple is about 50. And like at some point, I think I was such an expert of knowing every calorie in the world. That was a prison, you know? And I also developed very high skill set in looking like I was eating and then I wasn't. And I remember like losing weight. I mean, it took me over a year to lose the weight that I had gained with binge eating, but with determination, I did. And like I said, little did I know that it was spiraling me downhill into the opposite extreme, which I got thinner and I couldn't stop. So I had reached my weight and I looked at myself and I saw the same person and I didn't look happy. I did still feel toxic towards my body. And I was always like telling my body, it's not thin enough and you should look like this. And I was just so caught up in ego at that point that I was so lost. So I spiraled even more down into towards anorexia. And I literally can't tell you how awful that is to not have the energy to do stuff and to feel dizzy all the time because you care so much about being thin than to be healthy. And it was dangerous because obviously my mental health was not really great. I wasn't treating my body myself and, with respect. And I was always angry and hungry and hangry, that word. It's like you're hungry and you're angry at the same time. So honestly, I wasn't really at peace with myself. I was in fear. And so I looked at myself and I realized that nothing has changed. I mean, I did lose the weight, but I still was an awful person, not in every aspect of my life, just towards myself. And so I, couldn't take it anymore. And the help that I received didn't really help. And I knew that there was a deeper root cause because at the same time I was reading books about holistic, living and I started becoming very spiritual in my isolation, time. So in my bedroom, I would read like past lives books and holistic books and herbal medicine books. And it did fascinate me so much. And I joined forums and it did fascinate me to wanting to learn more, to always wanting to discover. And so my 18th birthday came and I didn't know what to do with my life. I mean, I did. And like mentioned, I was really good in school. So I had a path paved in front of me and I had my whole life figured out because I was going to become the doctor that, hey, exciting news. Do you want to go to Italy with me on a culinary and spiritual journey? Do you want to experience Italy through the eyes of an Italian? Join me for an intimate luxury women's retreat in June 2024 with good food, good company, meditation, healing, soul provoking conversations to help you rest, rejuvenate, and awaken your soul. This event will be shared with 7 other women in one of the most beautiful local towns in northern Italy. Spots are limited, and if interested, visit loveholisticliving.com/Italy-retreat. Again, loveholisticliving.com/Italy-retreat. So excited. Was going to kind of carry the honor of the family, but I've always wanted to heal people in some capacity. So I knew, being young, I was like, I'm going to be in the medical field. Yet through my path, I realized that I wanted to go holistic. And I also needed to figure myself out. Like, I was like, I don't want to lose time, but if I could just travel and figure myself out, like kind of getting to know myself, it's kind of like dating myself while traveling. I did that. And so with a backpack on my own, I followed my intuition and I don't know, like travel the world. Like my intuition was like, go to Tennessee. And I'm like, oh, hey, let's go to Tennessee and like work on organic farms. So that's how I traveled to save money. It was like, well, I would volunteer and help out in exchange of room and board. And then I would go to the next destination. And I always, made it super safe. I always was responsible, if you know what I mean. And to Australia. And then at the time I met like my boyfriend at the time. So we traveled together in a van and it was like super fun. And I was still struggling, through and with my body because I at that point, I was traveling. I was like, I had gained the weight back that I lost with through dieting, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna throw it all out there. Like I don't care anymore. I literally want to love myself, and if loving myself, and if my body right now needs to be at this weight, and so be it. And not that I did feel sexy, but I also surrender. And I was like, I just want to love myself. And that's it. And through that journey, though, I did encounter many holistic practitioners, especially the one who introduced me to the ancient wisdom of longevity, which it's called Ayurveda. It's literally the science of life, which I'm certified in. And you can read the chapters in my book. It's literally a very ancient practice in looking at the body through holistic approach and understanding that you have a unique body type and that you have physical and emotional attributes and there are certain foods that really work for you and not for others. And I sat there and I was like, this is so fascinating. The root cause, knowing that I have a specific body type and that it's unique and I feel special. And yeah, that's why the no one diet fits all. Like it all started to make sense, right? So I felt so in love that I decided to study the this ancient holistic system, medical system that stood, the test of time. And at first, believe me, I wanted to throw it all out the window because it's so damn complicated. But then it all made sense. And through that journey, though, that's the last piece of my journey. I healed myself. Like it was through studying and through understanding, the unique body type and the mind body connection and subconscious mind and past lives, but also like really getting into, you know, healthy eating, which I did, before, but really tying in the pleasure from my Italian culture with the medical system and the food being the medicine. Because I love the ancient wisdom, but I also love lasagna. So, how can we blend two concepts? Like, if you think about it, Italians, it's all about pleasure. Like, give me the tiramisu, give me the lasagna, give me the pasta, e il pane, e il carciofo, e I ravioli, e gli gnocchi. And it's like il gelato. And Ayurveda, so the ancient holistic system, is all about energies and medicine, and it's cleansing the body and it's grounding the body. And I'm like, okay, let's do one plus one and create something that it was at the end of the day me. And that's the book. And it all kind of started to tie into in making sense, but I had to go through different stages. And that is what I want to share today with you, that from the binging, you can't jump from the binging to like the energetic field. It's a big of a jump. Like if you're struggling with the binging, then what I had to acquire was mastering mindful eating, being in the present moment, distinguishing physical hunger versus emotional hunger, and sit with my emotions and chewing my food. Like I had to really pay attention to that. Once I mastered that, I had to reprogram my mindset around dieting. So I had to ditch, because then I went into dieting, and I had to ditch the diet mentality. I had to ditch the fact that I had to weigh it all, that I had to punish my body, that I had to earn food, that I had to burn all the calories, that I went off the wagon, on the wagon, off the wagon. Like I had to literally put all of that aside at some point. And I reprogrammed the brain into looking at self love. So every day I would literally go in front of the mirror and say something beautiful. And I would just continue on doing that every single day. And again, it wasn't like, you're beautiful. It was like, hey, you're doing okay for today, or I'm here for you. And as long as we come from self love, and as long as you're making a conscious choice, I'm okay. Like, even if I have to be at this weight. That was to me the surrendering process, to let go. But I had to let go to learn this new ancient knowledge. Like, I had to let go of all of what I had learned to practice into the real science, I mean, holistic science and medical system that allowed me to become a true intuitive. Because intuitive eating, to me, the way I describe it to people, is not like follow your cues. Like we are still in the mindful eating kind of stage. The intuitive eating that I teach and practice is know who you are in, I'm talking about your mind body composition. Like know how your metabolism works, know what food affects you and what food you can digest, and know yourself through this system, which is absolutely priceless in terms of knowledge that you acquire for longevity, so that you can always bring yourself back to balance, because that's what we are here to, always listening and always coming back to a state of balance. And every time we get thrown out of balance. So you may call out of balance the off the wagon. And I just want you to know that it's all a dance every day. It's not that I have my SHIT together all the time. It's not like that. I have days where I'm like, well, I'm waking up and I'm bloated and my skin is cracked and I'm constipated. I mean, it happens. But every day I wake up also with the knowledge that I know what to do, and that I'm tuning into what the body needs that day. And maybe that day I need warm cooked meals. And maybe that day I need to work less. And maybe that day I need to meditate more. So it's diet and lifestyle practices. And it's the secret is to always be tuned in to your body, to your needs. And I always tell people, ask yourself, what body, what do I need to eat? And start listening, because that is the practice that I've learned, is to listen and to not hustle to like, let's go to the gym even though my ankle hurts. Like, the body is saying the ankle hurts. So stay home, do something else. Maybe you just need a light stretch. Like the body knows. And that was my journey. It was a journey from literally self-hate to self-love. It was a journey from masculine energy to feminine energy, which we will have a whole episode about that. And it was the journey where I let go of all of my fears around the body and I gained body positivity, but I also gained knowledge. And I think this for me was the missing link because as a type A woman, and if you are too, then welcome to the club. I was determined to know. I was determined to figure it out because I don't like to take no for an answer. I'm like, I've got to crack the code. And if the code is, well, you need to surrender to this weight, then I'll accept it, but I need to research. And so I did. And I did realize that there is a code to crack. And it's about mind, body, and soul alignment. It's about eating healthy, but with pleasure. So moderation. And then it's also like not suppressing your emotions, but release your emotions. And it's also releasing energetic blocks and let go of limiting beliefs. So it's all of that, but it's a beautiful journey. So if you are on this journey, please know that there is a way out. And I've helped hundreds of women do the same. And now I have the spiritual weight loss course for people that are going through the first stage, like out of binging and out of chronic dieting, onto my website into Love Holistic Living / courses. And I am launching like a live training with me if you want to take food to the next level. If you want to take food to that intuitive eating where you know your body, you know what to do, you can self identify what's going on, you can learn the signs of the language that the body's speaking, and you let go of guilt, shame, fear, because at the end of the day, whatever life throws at me, I know how to handle it with my body. And I so know for my kids. Now, I'm not saying, you know, I won't ever take medications, I won't ever see a doctor again. I'm always dancing to be like, can I prevent? Better to be safe than sorry, right? Can I prevent? Can I stay in a state of balance as much as possible? And nobody's perfect so that I don't fall and really hurt myself. So I'm always listening. And again, we're launching Food Energetics in February 2024, and the applications are open right now. So please apply and see if this is a good fit for you. And that will be a live training with me for 8 weeks. And hopefully, I'll see you in there. Thank you for today's time and a big ciao.